Welcome back to Been There, Watch That. We are on episode number 83. Had to scroll down for a while. We've been doing some serious work with this movie review. Down to page 3 of my Word document here.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
We rotate each week for a different movie pick, and we have a list going of stuff that the fans have submitted through social media. If you want to reach out to us that way, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, BTWT Pod for Been There, Watch That. BTWT Pod. Send your recommendations. So we do that once a go-around. We pick one from the fan list, but this week it's Dave's pick.
Dun dun dun.
And he has
Mop buckets, baby. Mop buckets.
presenting with honors from 1994, starring the now Academy Award-winning actor Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, I followed on the, we were talking about Brendan Fraser and all that deal, so I was like, I got a movie with him in it. It's a mop bucket. Let me hit you with it. And
Yeah.
following up on Justin's pick, wow. Game changer. Made it even easier.
Yeah, I don't even remember what mine was. Oh, Shaun of the Dead, yeah. Stinker.
It wasn't terrible. Yeah, it was.
Brendan Fraser recently winning Best Actor for The Whale, which I've heard some folks talk about that's pretty out there movie. Not pretty strange.
I've heard that it was good, but I hadn't heard that it was strange. So I didn't know what to expect. I've not watched it either, so.
Yeah.
I've heard there's something that happens real early in the morning in the movie that's a little weird. So just throwing that out there.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. All right. So we have a
Synopsis.
synopsis. I wanted to say synopsis, but that wasn't right.
Casting call.
Casting call, synopsis. There you go. Hit us with it, because this is a big movie. This is a powerhouse movie.
Academia meets street smarts when Monty Kessler, a graduate student struggling to finish his program, loses his thesis and finds it in the hands of a homeless man named Simon Wilder. Though the two get off on the wrong foot, they become unlikely friends, with Simon teaching Monty some important life lessons. Although Monty's roommates, including his buddy Everett Calloway, initially dislike having Simon around, they grow to appreciate him too. The movie stars Joe Pesci as Simon, and he's known for Home Alone, which is in our archives, My Cousin Vinny, which is also in our archives, and Goodfellas. Brendan Fraser plays Monty, and he's known for the Mummy movies and, as Justin mentioned, the new movie, The Whale. Moria Kelly plays Courtney, and she's known for One Tree Hill and The Lion King. Patrick Dempsey plays Everett, and he's known for Grey's Anatomy and Can't Buy Me Love. And Melinda Chilton plays Helga, and she's known for Shameless, The Office, and Angie Tribeca. And that is your casting call.
Yeah. I was surprised because you never really hear this movie. I don't remember it when it came out, being anything big.
Right.
But what a big cast.
Yes.
I mean, Patrick Dempsey, Brendan Fraser, Joe Pesci, Josh Hamilton.
Yeah, when I looked up Melinda Chilton last night, it said she was on The Office. I thought, no, wait a minute.
Really?
I'm pretty big fan of The Office, and I was calling bunk on that, so I had to do a little deep diving, and I found where she is on The Office.
Really? Okay.
One line.
Do you no, she actually made an appearance in one of the episodes. Do you guys remember the episode where Daryl and them are in the conference room watching the sexual harassment tape? And Daryl goes, I know her, the girl in the sexual harassment video.
Yeah.
That's her.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, okay, because it said she was only in one episode, and I thought, where?
Yeah.
And then they said,
Tracked it down.
yeah.
Sneaky. It's on a videotape.
Yeah.
Like kind of an episode, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, for one of those movies, kind of hidden gem, I was really impressed with this. I like the undertone. This is one of my movies. One of the movies I can watch time and time again. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I think I like the little clever parts in it. Joe Pesci plays the role to a T.
Yes.
Brendan Fraser's pretty good. Patrick Dempsey played a good role. Josh Hamilton, I felt like he was that jerk of a roommate that everybody runs across and you're just like, oh, this guy's killing me. So, interesting stuff. And I'll ask you guys, what stands out to you? This is a movie I feel like you could find something that stands out to you all the way around.
I'm trying to wrap my head around how the paper went from like a grate outside to inside the building.
Yeah, that is a little tricky. There was a couple of trick spots like that. That, and then his cast
I was
switched feet
confused.
occasionally.
Yeah.
And there's a couple overlaps there in some of the scenes. So some mistakes there that people picked up on.
Because I thought it went down that grate, it was like gone forever, but
Like a
I didn't
sewer grate or something.
Yeah.
But it ended up inside the building where the boilers are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming. That he was going to hold his thesis hostage, and that was kind of the central plot point.
I was impressed with Joe Pesci's role in this movie. I've not seen Goodfellas, but I've heard that that's one of his, kind of a foul-mouthed mobster. That's what he's known for. And of course, My Cousin Vinny, I've known from that and Home Alone. And this, to me, this is completely different Joe Pesci than what I've known him for and have heard him to be known for.
He's had some good movies. There's one where he's a landlord type deal, and then Casino, he's vicious in Casino.
Yeah.
With, I can't remember who's in that with him.
But still kind of that mobster
Oh,
mentality.
monster role, yeah.
Yeah.
Where he's just vicious.
Yeah. So
yeah,
this is
this
kind
is
of
a change.
Yeah.
And, one of those deals set at Harvard. I like the whole idea that, you see Walt Whitman wandering around the library at night, and it's this little homeless guy that found him. And, that was what was poignant to me. A not preppy, prissy guy, from a poor background, at Harvard, but yet uptight and anal, and then he ruins his, as he said, I had a nice warm place to stay and you took that from me.
Yeah.
And he calls him Harvard, which is kind of ironic because he's not your typical Harvard student.
Yeah, which I think is hilarious. The whole movie, he never calls him Monty from beginning to end. It's Hey Harvard.
Yep. So kind of that representation. Then you got Patrick Dempsey, whose dad, he's the typical Harvard student. His dad's paying his way and blah, blah, blah. And then Josh Hamilton, the uptight, anal, failing at Harvard, struggling. And then Mariah Kelly, who played Courtney, I thought she played a good role in that as well.
Yeah.
Fit in there as the girl next door, nice, great qualities, but yet they couldn't pull it together until the end. So a lot of heartstrings being pulled. I like to, when he's working on his eulogy and stuff like that, where you're like, man, at some point in your life, you got to cross that bridge.
Right.
So.
And when he tells Monty, when he's looking at all those other obituaries for reference, and said the guy died and that was it, it's like he didn't die, he never lived.
Yeah.
And it's like it kind of puts a whole perspective, and it's really interesting. Here's Monty going to one of the most highly regarded schools in the country, but yet as educated as he is, he is ignorant.
Yeah, he's not worldly.
Yeah, compared to Simon.
I feel like you see that a lot, and that's the message that I liked about this movie, is that street smarts and traveling the world and understanding the big picture is the education you want.
Yes.
And it's weird because I've talked to my own kids about that. Everybody's goal, it seems like, is to get out of high school as quick as you can and get a job and just, put your head down and be in a rat race every day forever. And I'm like, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And now you can come out of high school being a sophomore in college. I'm like, why would you give up 2 years of being in college? Just to join the workforce 2 years quicker.
Right.
And a lot of it's financial driven. I understand that. If you're poor, then it's really hard. But man, give up a lot.
Right.
So I don't know. This is quickly became one of my more enjoyable movies just because of the thought behind it.
Definitely an interesting story idea. The whole kind of forcing him to, through like a number of different acts, like slowly win his thesis back. So obviously you're gonna break down some of his
ideology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring out a little bit more of his humanity. And
I like when he was in the lecture, and he's like, "We at Harvard don't end our sentences with prepositions." Fine, a-hole. Yeah. I can fix that for you.
Yeah.
So, you want to be a pompous jerk? Here you go.
Yeah.
But one of those things where, I don't know,
And what?
taking on the man and maybe winning, but not really winning, just
Yeah.
because of the health concerns.
Did they explain like why did Simon like pretty much abandon his family and all that? What was that?
I don't know. I know it said he
He
joined the service, but
he joined the Merchant Marines, and he just wasn't a good father. He said, his father was a bad father, and he felt like he might be going down that same road, so it's better if he just wasn't there.
yeah,
Rather than be a bad father and leave
Hmm.
horrific damage, he just left for the best of everybody.
and that was so hard to watch towards the end.
When he met his son.
Yeah, and then met his granddaughter.
Yeah.
It was one of those. The story would have been horrible if they would just, oh, this is great. I mean, it's one of those you expect it and you want it, but it's still hard to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, nobody wants to be in that situation, but man, if you are, it's
Yeah.
gut wrenching.
Yeah, and it's one of the again you don't. It's hard to say this, but you don't want that warm fuzzy feeling that all is forgiven, because that just ruins the whole story, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, and they didn't cave into what you would think was going to happen.
Right.
Oh yeah, at least you made a comeback or anything like that. It wasn't that.
Yeah,
And I felt that kept the movie honest.
yeah,
So as much as I didn't like that part,
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
yes,
I think they had a lot of good quotes in this one too. Not your usual zingers, but a lot of ideology type quotes. Like you said, Monty asked him at one point, he's like, "Why'd you call me a loser?" And he's like, "Because winners forget they're in a race. You try too hard."
yeah,
And that's such a great philosophy. I'm a coach and I was an athlete, and that is so true.
yeah,
Winners run like they're, not really in a race. They're running because they love to run, or competing because they love to compete. And people that struggle mentally with that idea just try too hard. They put too much pressure on themselves and they collapse.
Hmm.
So it's one of those things where, and Justin, you're an athlete. What are your thoughts on that
Well,
quote?
during the movie, I didn't really. I know exactly the quote you're talking about, but I didn't quite understand what he was getting at with that quote. But you kind of breaking it down, that makes sense. Yeah, the ones that win generally are not the ones that are like obsessed about winning. They're the ones that.
yeah. They don't appreciate it as
Right.
much because they're used to it. They've
Mhm.
kind of grown numb to the whole concept.
Brendan Fraser's character is definitely the epitome of that. I mean, he's just.
Yeah. Well, even on his thesis, he's putting so much
Yeah,
overthinking into it, and that's what I feel like the beauty of that quote is. Simon helps him realize, and he changes his thesis at the end. He doesn't graduate with honors, so he gives up a little to learn a lot,
yeah,
and that's what I think Simon was trying to teach him, is that just because you get your thesis done on what the professor wants you to, or your advisor wants you to do, so that you think like him, that's not really going to win you the prize that you think it is.
right.
And you want to be better prepared for life by learning how to learn and learning that there's more views outside of just conforming.
Yep.
And I don't know. I like that philosophy, and I've seen it time and time again. The best competitors are the ones that do it for the love of the game,
Yeah.
for the love of the sport, or for whatever. It's wonderful, especially at my age. I'm 49. And you see people out there exercising, and I saw a guy mountain biking yesterday. He was mountain biking just for the fun of it. But what I loved about it, I met him at an intersection. He passed me going one way, caught me coming the other way. So he rode twice as far as I did in the same amount of time, just on one part of the trail. And then he just pulled up and took a stop. And I caught back up with him, and he was just taking a break, enjoying the day.
Yeah,
And I was like, man, this guy can motor, but he also slowed down to take a minute, get a drink of water, and just he was looking at the trees or something. I don't know. What he was
just
looking
taking it all in.
at. Yeah.
He was able to take that moment.
It's like,
Yeah.
there you go. That's what it's about. 'Cause you see so many people that just hammer down and beat themselves up for no reason, and then they don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right.
Go straight from your car to the trail, and then from the trail to the car, and drive straight home. Don't take a breather at all. And-
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was pretty cool. And it's weird that it falls in line with this movie, but that's what I noticed yesterday evening, in the midst of all my fiasco. He was pretty jolly about it too. I have a feeling though. So here's what happened to me. I broke my chain whenever the handlebars and wrecked a little bit. Not bad, just one of those tumbling deals. But he came back and he's like, man, did you go over the hill? I was like, no. He's like, oh, I've seen kids go over the hill and on a mountain bike team. I was like, yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah.
But I had to climb down over the hill to get my chain, about 10 feet down. So I was coming about when he came back. But I have a feeling he was kind of like, I wish I'd have got to see this ordeal go down.
Yeah.
You know? He's like, hey, you go over the hill. I was like, yep. No, it wasn't that big a deal. But he's like, huh, all right. Got a better story if you had.
Yeah, bounced off a tree and flipped upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wouldn't believe it.
Lasers on my
I went
feet.
down over the hill. But, anyway, there's a little bit of a life lesson in there in this movie, I feel like. And the Social Security clerk lady.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
my-
evidence of birth. I'm sitting here, lady. I think
Spontaneous combustion.
Yeah, spontaneous combustion was the deal. What do you think's going on here?
That was my favorite scene out of that entire movie.
What state were you born? Infant.
Yeah. When I look, which one's Simon Water? He is. They've been pointing at each other.
He's like, knock it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, with this movie, like, Simon is totally, like, self-taught, right? Or it never implies that he had, like, a fancy degree or anything.
He got out, got married, went to Merchant Marines, got
Yeah.
sick from asbestos, and was
reads books on
as a bum.
in his spare time. Like, obviously, likes learning stuff and is totally self-taught, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, sit around and read all the time. Heck yeah. Especially the bigs like he was reading. So give him some. It is neat, though, that they have exactly what you're saying. Someone without an educational background that is knowledgeable. But I think that was the key in the movie, is to mix those two.
Right.
Street smarts with an education or an idea of, how to mix philosophy in with that. Because he had a neat perspective. And at one point, he got in an argument with Jeffrey, and he's like, you know why you hate me? Because I look the way you feel. And I was like, man, can you imagine telling somebody that and knowing you look like crap because you're a bum?
Yeah.
And then you got this preppy Harvard student that's like, ugh, he's right.
Yeah.
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 I feel terrible about myself, and then Monty's like, what is your problem? I heard you printing out stuff. I was just printing empty pages, man. I don't have any work done,
And that's what I always found interesting with Simon was he knew who he was.
Yeah.
He didn't try to be anything else. He knew he was a bum, and and he accepted that. He wasn't proud of it, but he wasn't ashamed of it either. He's like, this is the hand not the hand I was dealt, but this is the path I took.
Yeah.
And this is me. And even as he was improving himself because of these group of people he associated himself with, even when he went on the radio show, he's like, I'm the bum.
Yeah. Well, in your all's eyes, was it plausible that could happen? That a bum could get integrated in with a group of college kids living in an apartment house? Or a house, I guess. Did you question that? Did you have an idea of, like, that would never happen?
Or could have even set up shop in the library and be undetected that long
I could kind of see that.
Yeah.
in the boiler room.
Yeah, just because the college experience, like I've been up to visit Kale at Marietta a couple times, and they have security guards, but normally they're outside. You know what I mean? If you could figure out a way to sneak in one of the buildings, nobody would know. The custodians clean them in the evenings, and then they go home.
Well, and a little fun fact, Simon said that, he was in this building and had so many bathrooms and 8 miles of books.
Yeah.
In reality, it's actually 60 miles of books inside the Harbor College.
Really?
Yeah.
60 miles.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Wow.
it is completely inside the realm of possibility that he could have been in the building that entire time for decades, and
Yeah.
nobody would have been none the wiser.
And this is what I'll say. Katie and I went to Princeton back in January. I don't know. It was wintertime. And we walked in and out of buildings with no problems.
Yeah.
Mainly because they're older, a little harder to lock down, I guess. But like the chapel and stuff was just amazing. But you could easily sneak in. Not that I'm advising you should, but you can easily sneak in and just like lay on a pew and probably nobody notice you.
Yeah, for a while.
Right. But you know what I mean.
Yeah,
But
right.
Just amazing old building. You know what's neat though? Got to see the classroom that Einstein taught in.
Really?
Yeah, it's the same. They didn't change anything.
Really? Now,
Yeah.
is it Is
Wow.
it still used as a classroom?
Yes.
Or is it basically just
No,
left as a...
Yep, it's a lecture hall. They still use it.
Really?
They upgraded a little bit, but they left like the old electronic stuff.
Yeah.
And the seats are the same. The wood and everything is the same. But they
Oh,
did
wow.
put in a come down deal with the LCD projector deal. That's the only thing that's changed.
Oh, wow.
The original pew and everything that he talked, not pew, but whatever you call the
Podium.
podium. The
Yeah.
original podium's still there that he
Mhm.
taught on. It's pretty cool. I mean, the rest of the building's kind of updated.
Yeah.
And then you walk into this classroom and it's just nostalgia slaps you in the face.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
To answer your question, Dave, yeah, maybe this is totally pretty hardcore fantasy here with the storyline.
I don't know. I thought they eased into it really well.
Yeah.
There might be a way I could see maybe if like the students were at a like volunteering at a homeless shelter or something, and thought, hey, this guy's kind of cool. But the whole like hostage thing with his paper, I don't see that happening in real life.
I don't know, man. See, I think the age distinction is the issue because I remember when, if the computer, like when I went to college, there wasn't computers in your rooms or anything. Nobody had a computer. We had word processors if you were lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you went to the computer lab and you typed your stuff up and you saved it on a 3.5-inch floppy.
Mm-hmm.
And if power went out, I learned a couple hard lessons, because they would have a power blink.
Right.
And if you didn't, like, it got to where everybody saved your stuff every 10 minutes. Every 10 minutes you saved.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have autosave.
Right.
And if you lost your deal, if something happened on your 3.5-inch floppy. So I remember doubling up.
Yeah.
I carried 2 stacks of floppies.
Yeah.
One was my backup and one was my working one. But it was such a pain in the butt because you had to insert your main one. Like I had mine labeled A and B. Insert A, save it, save it, save it, save it, and then when I got done for the day, I would pull A out, put B in, and resave the whole document on B.
Mm-hmm.
And I had 2. The crazy part was I carried around both of them.
Right.
Just with the idea that if something got corrupted, I had to back up to at least a point.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where,
That's huge.
from the technology side, I bought into the story because that is in the complete realm of possibility. We're talking 94.
Oh, yeah.
The computer was still running DOS.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so to me, it made it easier for me to believe the story because, like, yeah, those computers were so unstable. You could look at it funny and it would just corrupt
The
and crash.
computer lab would blink occasionally, and people would freak out.
Yeah.
Cry, break down crying. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like, and you had to go back, and everything was done by hand. Like, we didn't have Google search, so we had to go to the library, and you got all your information. You took notes, and then you went and typed your paper. And it's craziness.
Yeah. So let's take the computer element out of it.
Yeah.
Let's say he handwrote all that, the entire thesis.
Yeah.
Well, we know that it was over 80 pages.
Yeah, you had
So-
90 some pages.
Yeah, so if I hand wrote 90-some page thesis to find some bum literally just burning it in the fire 1 page at a time, yeah, I'd be livid as well and would probably stoop to this level of doing literally anything to get it back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because,
With my
90
attention,
some pages, kids now freak out over typing a 5-page paper.
yeah, because with my attention span, I couldn't get that quality 90 pages back.
No,
That's a
yeah.
one-shot deal.
Can you imagine starting over? You know what I did like though? When he saw him feed it into the fire, he's like, trash. This is terrible.
Yeah.
Why would you even want this back?
Yeah, yeah.
But that's reality. I don't know. So I did like the transition though, and I believed it. He moved him into the van.
Yeah.
And he argued with roommates, is he dangerous, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then they all go home for Christmas break. They come back, and there he is.
Mm-hmm.
So he slowly integrated his way into the house.
And I love how they show that he's in the house. They open the bathroom and there he sits.
Yeah. So I don't know. I kind of bought that. I think it could happen.
It's kind of out of the realm of normal possibility, but it's not completely impossible. It's
Right.
plausible.
Yeah, plausible.
Yeah.
I agree. So I did like that part of it because I know some movies have plots you're just like, yeah, this never happened.
Yeah.
So that part intrigued me, and I forgot about it. I hadn't seen this movie for a long time, and then I ran across it because we were talking about Brendan Fraser and just looking at other movies, and like, oh yeah. But yeah, and Joe Pesci just hit a home run with this one, I think.
Yeah, well, yes, most definitely.
He was very believable in character. I like it when he ate the rooster, But
Yeah.
yeah, I'll make dinner, no problem.
Yeah.
I'll use what's available. But,
How'd you do this? Oh, the hard part was just plucking it.
Yeah.
And as soon as I heard, Cena and I both, we died because
Yeah.
it was one of those you're not thinking of it, and then all he had to say was plucking it, and then it just hit you. It slapped you right in the face. It's like, oh, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just one little subtle remark like that, and
Yeah.
just
There went the rooster.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's, I felt bad for Jeffrey. He was a ding dong, but I did like that he come around in the end. I didn't think he would. Like,
Yeah.
my original feelings when I watched the movie was like Jeffrey's going to cut out on him and just drop out of school and leave. But
Right.
even he came around and learned a little.
Hmm.
So, I don't know. The only part I didn't like is where he tries to run off into the woods and die by himself, and he's like, come on, you're not a dog, I don't know that somebody would resort to that, but I did like they tied the analogy together.
Yeah. Did you guys catch this? Because I kind of caught it, and then when I read last night in the homework, I was like, oh yeah, that when Simon yells stop the car, they're on this like busy 2-lane road, and then when they show it, it's like this one lane.
Oh, really? I did not.
Yeah, yeah. The locations weren't right. All of a sudden, they went from a busy 2-lane road to this little paved road.
Gotcha.
When-
Yeah, there's a lot of mistakes. Not a lot, but several mistakes like that were noticeable.
But I do like how they a lot of the little, just the little things that they all tie in together. Like you said, the running into the woods to die, and the rocks. Did you guys catch the rocks?
The rocks.
The ones Joe Pesci would carry around.
Yeah.
Oh, the pebbles he carried?
Yeah, and then after Meddy sent him, bit down and picked up that pebble.
Yeah, I did notice that.
And then at the end, Brendan Fraser picks up a pebble.
Yep.
It's like, oh, that just again, just another little subtle thing that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That wasn't a big deal either.
No.
But I did notice that watching it this time that I didn't notice when I watched it a long time ago.
Yeah, but that it ties it all together. It's like
Yeah.
that's
Even when he died, he's imparting wisdom.
yeah, and it's fascinating that this is one of these movies that they can drop subtle hints like that, and it makes the movie so much better. And they're not banging you over the head with stuff like that.
Yeah.
They don't make a big deal about it. It's just part of the storyline, and then when you see it play out, it's like, ooh, that was with that.
Did you guys come away with the idea, like, do you feel like they hit it on the mark when they said you can't get an education at a college just because?
Yes.
Because I kind of felt like that was the overall lesson to be learned, is that just because you're, especially if you're at a prissy college like Harvard,
Right.
Ivy League, doesn't mean you're the smartest person in the room. Just means you have an education.
Yeah.
And I really like that message, because I know, a lot of smart people that I know specifically don't have an education, but they're smart.
Right.
Street smart, can figure out problems. They know how to learn, know how to solve problems.
Yeah.
So I did appreciate that, and that's probably just because of my heel jack background. But I appreciated that part, but I didn't know if that would translate to other people. Did you guys find that to be true, or where were you following that?
I believe it wholeheartedly.
Yeah, just the contrast between the two characters, Pesci and Fraser. Just one on the surface, you would say, is the smartest, way smarter, but it's actually the opposite.
Yeah.
Flipped on its head, turned on
Yeah.
its head that way. I thought Brendan Fraser did a pretty good job of being that character of a Harvard kid and being kind of unlikable, but not over the top of just totally a jerk or anything. Like he towed that line pretty well of for the plot to work. Like he has to be kind of not has to have this evolution with Joe Pesci's character too.
Yeah.
Well, I think
has to be annoyed with him at first.
right. And I think the whole part that Joe Pesci abandoned his family, and especially his son, and then Brendan Fraser growed up without a dad, kind of led to that.
Mm-hmm.
Brendan Fraser had that resentment of a father figure, and
Right.
Simon Wilder kind of fielded at the end. You know what I mean?
Right.
Got him up to speed with, hey, these are the lessons you should know.
And I was scared to death that they was going to try to twist it to where we find out that Simon's really Monty's dad, and I was like, don't do it.
Oh yeah, that would be weird.
That would just ruin it and would make it completely stupid, but they didn't, and I was thankful for that.
Yeah.
Apparently, I've watched too many of these newer movies that do this garbage nonsense because a good movie like this, they didn't go down these obvious paths that they could have.
Yeah, and I like that it wasn't sappy. It didn't take those predictable turns of this is a fairy tale ending or
Right.
whatever. I
Mhm.
like that it was real, or at least I felt like they were trying to hit real. Simon died. That's how
Yeah.
it ended up in the end. His son did not want to see him or have anything to do with him. His son did not cave and give him that token of, hey, this is your grandchild or anything. He just like dismissed him, and that's probably what would happen in a real world in that situation. I would say 9 times out of 10.
And then Simon had an obituary and included his quote-unquote family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tied it up at the end with a little funny obituary, which I could see because he was a funny guy.
Oh, yeah.
And I appreciated the overall lesson that you can't learn real world stuff in an ivory tower college versus what you can learn even though you're a bum.
Yeah.
Bums are people too, and not
Right.
all of them are just worthless.
Right.
I mean, I know people that are worthless regardless of their social status.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting deal. Okay. Is there anything that you just despised? Because I know, Justin, you've had issues with characters in the past, as have I, Joe.
No.
Is there any character you're just like, this person stinks?
No, my only complaint was Patrick Dempsey's. He had the '90s hairdo, and it's like
Mhm.
the big over the top. I just like, come on now, but
That's why he was sexiest man alive for a couple years.
Yeah, you could tell they do a shot where they're like really focus in on like Dempsey's like eyes, like, oh, he's the dreamy one with
yeah, and just
his
like
flowing hair. I'm like, oh man.
yeah. But other than that, I had no other complaints about his character. I mean, I had no complaints about his character. It's just like they kind of pandered on that a little bit, but
Hey.
I thought maybe some of the dialogue between the roommates was like felt a little bit scripted and a little silly, but not over the top.
Yeah, I think
Like
a
the
little,
whole shaving her legs thing, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
that did bother me because he's like, I've never wanted to be a razor so much in my life. I'm
Yeah.
like, right? Who wants it? What?
Yeah.
I mean, that's weird. I don't think that hit the mark they were hoping for.
The little dynamic with her and the
Yeah. And you can kind of see that coming a mile away. At least I did. Because he flirts with her a lot.
yeah,
And she doesn't give any credibility to her boyfriend. She just calls him the face.
yeah,
So that told me that, she's not buying into him.
no. Now, I did find this interesting. Claudia Harrow, who plays Marty, the girl that asked Simon to dance at the party,
Yeah.
she was actually married to Joe Pesci at the time. That was his real life
No
wife at
way.
the time. Yes, at that time, that was his real life wife.
Really?
Yes.
That's crazy. Yep. Huh. Wow.
Yeah, there's a deep dive.
How funny is that? Okay. Learned something today.
You guys got to see The Irishman if you like gangster movies. Joe Pesci is in that one. A much older Joe Pesci. He's probably 70-something. Well, this is 94. He's probably 40-something in here. In this movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and the cast didn't scroll much out of, the main characters.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. For the idea of being at Harvard, being at a school, and everything they had to do, cast is fairly small most of the movie.
Right.
Now that, because I'm looking at the cast and going, I'm like, I don't even know most of these people. Like the 8th or 9th person in is the mailman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So shallow cast, really.
Gore Vidal. Interesting.
What?
Gore Vidal.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Who was he? He was some sort of like
Pit Cannon? I don't even know what that is, or who that
one of
is.
the professors, I think. Or
Was he the advisor, or was he the professor in the room?
thought he was like a snooty professor.
Yeah, he talked to the one in the lecture hall, and then he had his advisor. I'm not sure which is which. I think that's his advisor, because they just called him Pit Cannon.
Okay.
But that might also have been the same guy as the lecturer. I'm not sure.
I guess he was an author back in the day.
Really?
Pretty big author, yeah. Not necessarily an actor. I think they just kind of threw him in.
Yeah, I like how Boz, the other roommate, is a no-show throughout the whole thing. Like, no pictures of him, no nothing, just the name.
Yeah, there was referencing, but yeah, there's no association with.
Yeah. Huh. All right, well, let's rate this baby up because Joe, you got a pick to make, and this is a
I'm on
tough
the
one to
fence.
follow. Let me apologize up front. This is a tough one to follow. I'm sorry I did that to you, Joe.
I know.
No, I'm going large. I'll just say it up front. I don't think it's a over mop bucket by any means
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think everybody would get it. I do think it is dated, so I don't
Really?
I think the computer situation people today would not identify. Like I think you had to be there. Like I identify because I went through it and I understand what a big deal it is to lose your information. But I think today people would be like, "What do you mean? Why wasn't it in the cloud?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe, but I don't know. I don't think I could recommend this to everybody and they would get it. I think people would be like, "Yeah, okay, yeah."
I don't know.
For them, the
Joe's trying to talk me into mop bucket.
for them the plot line would be like ransomware hacker got you.
Yeah.
Now you have to be nice to a hacker online.
Yeah. Well, no, there's
There
still a
you go.
possibility that the computer could crash. I mean, it's a lot less likely
I mean,
than it used to be,
could,
but
yeah.
yeah.
We have autosave now, which is kind of crazy. I remember when that first came out, I was like, "What do you mean it's saving for me?"
Yeah.
Really? Awesome. I see With Honors Renew here with Justin's remake.
Yeah.
Like, all right, we got to remake this baby.
Well, the whole setting the whole wheels in motion was like he had to like jump up and go print out his paper at night, and like his room.
Yeah, it's going to make a copy.
The girl was like, "Just
Wait till
chill
tomorrow.
out, and wait till tomorrow." But he was like so
Panic.
wound up about it.
Well, this is what I will say. When I did my thesis, I understand that panic because man, it was a big deal. You couldn't be late, no exceptions, and it had to be a home run.
Mm-hmm.
It's a one-shot deal. And
Yeah. So I understand that part. Now I agree that was a little implausible to say, okay, it has to be done right now, 9 o'clock at night. Wait till morning, but anyway.
The whole like
I'm still at a large unless Joe can really talk me up here.
pretty goofy. Well, he was kind of like, "Oh, you can't follow me" or something, like busted his face, like right as he was saying that when they were running down
Kick
the
the bench.
sidewalk.
Yeah.
Not a
Can't
smooth
keep up.
move. Yeah, can't keep up. Joe, you make your case. I'm right in between medium and large.
Really?
A medium?
Really?
Overflowing.
Justin.
I'm between the
I'm
overflowing
shocked.
I thought this would be up your alley.
So, do you want me to tell you what Cena said? Cena?
Yeah.
I had a message from her, or she said to make sure to pass this message along.
Okay.
She says this is one of, if not the best picks you've ever made.
Really?
Yes.
That a girl. I knew I liked her.
As soon as we finished, she
She's
said,
got excellent taste.
well, as soon as we finished it, she said, you need to tell Dave that was the one of the, if not the best movie he's picked.
Wow.
I could see her liking it because it's got a little bit of comedy romance. It's got a good theme across the board. It's not over the top.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's an easy sit and watch. Okay, fine, mop bucket. Cena talked me into it. Mop bucket it is. Woo!
So I'm going to go overflowing large on this one.
Wow.
All right,
So
Justin, you scoundrel.
yeah, so I'm shocked with Justin teetering between medium and large because I'm giving overflowing large and there was not one single shot, not a single explosion.
Yeah.
No guns, no cannons. No
Yeah.
nothing.
No car chase.
No car chase.
Nothing. That car was broken down the whole time.
Yeah.
Medium. Yeah, that's true. Didn't even go very far. Very
Yeah.
fast. Just a medium? Really?
Well, I think maybe the dated part gets to me a little bit more than
Yeah.
some of the other folks.
Come on, man.
Pretty scripted dialogue, I thought, and a little dated, but
Yeah, true.
all in all, definitely doesn't dip into, for me, medium. I think it's overflowing or large. I'm right there with you guys. I'll go large just to.
Oh, don't conform. Just
No.
because.
That's what makes this us honest.
I
is
agree.
All right, Everflowing medium.
All right.
Now we'll give you crap about it. Don't get me wrong. You will catch grief over it, but
I know. Mainly
I'm
because of
definitely-
the foretaste in movies.
Minority.
How do you even get
for sure.
involved in this ordeal? I thought a prerequisite is you had to have good taste in movies.
Yeah.
Let's see where it's at now. Of course, you did bring up Pig.
yeah.
Gosh. Anyway, all right. So where are we at? Overflowing large for you, Joe.
Yes.
I'm going mop bucket just because
Mhm.
I agree with Cena. She talked me into it. And overflowing medium.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Again, dated. I think that's what the only thing that kills this movie in any lapse where I would struggle to maybe recommend it to everybody is that it's dated. Like
Yeah.
a newer kid would be like,
Mhm.
what's the big deal? It's in the cloud. I wouldn't be talking about thesis anyway. I'd use the what's the chat thing? Chatbot.
Chat GPT.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be using that anyway. So what's his problem?
Why can't he use
Who
it?
prints out papers anymore? This is craziness.
Yeah.
Which is unreal. I talked to Kale, who's up, in college, and he's like, I don't print out papers.
Just submit them
Just submit them
on the
online.
cloud.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the way to do it.
And it's like, okay. So yeah, that's why I was hesitant to go mop bucket because I don't know that it translates to a younger person.
Well, I kind of looked over that and just kind of looked at the whole life lesson deal.
Yeah.
I gave that one a pass. I gave the dated part a pass.
Stink out of Justin.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Well, Joe, you got your pick. What was it?
I think I gave Vinny a large. I thought that was good. I like Joe Pesci more in that than this. I don't know. His kind of like zingers and one-liners as this bum were right teetering on the edge of like non-believability for me. But
Well, he was diagnosed with schizophrenia and
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
mental
the
issues.
boy, oh boy, that always got me.
Yeah.
So I'm going back to the algorithms on this one, gentlemen, and,
Alright.
and I have
Oh, boy.
I have two options here. We have a Harrison Ford movie and we have a Tom Hanks movie. Disclaimer: it is not A Man Called Otto. If it was, we would there would be no option.
Ooh.
So we have a Harrison Ford movie and a Tom Hanks movie.
Boy, I like Tom Hanks.
how many Tom Hankses have we done so far?
I would be in for the Harrison Ford if it's Raiders of the Lost Ark.
No,
Hold
we
on.
already did that one.
Did we?
Yeah, the first Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did that one.
Okay. Let me see what movies he's got here.
Well, so this is based off recommendations of the Shawshank Redemption. So
Yeah, we did Shawshank and Forrest Gump, right?
yeah,
Those are the two Tom Hankses.
6 Days, 7 Nights.
nope,
American Graffiti.
nope,
Have you guys seen that one?
no, I haven't. But isn't that what Happy Days is based off of?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty good actually. For an old movie, it's good. A lot of life lessons there. Patriot Games.
Nope.
Man, is it a new one or an old one?
It's a '90s. It's a '90s Harrison Ford.
90s. Ooh, now I'm interested. What? Tom Hanks, new or old?
Fugitive?
Older. Let me get you the date on Tom Hanks. Well, let me give you the decade.
90s.
It's a '90s Tom Hanks film as well.
Man, they're all good in the 90s. I don't know. That's a tough call. Justin, what are you thinking? Which way you leaning?
And I disclaimer: I've never seen either of these movies. So
I'm thinking The Fugitive or Air Force One.
I'm leaning Harrison Ford.
Clear and Present Danger. Hold on. Sabrina. I don't think you'd do Sabrina.
no.
I don't think you'd do Random Hearts. Presumed Innocent. The Devil's Own. Maybe. No. Okay. All right. Hold on. Let me do Tom Hanks.
And we've already done Forrest Gump, so that knocks out a big one there.
I don't think you do You Got Mail. I'm not even sure that's.
We've already done that.
Did we? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We have.
It's not Elvis.
Yeah,
'cause
we have.
that's not 90s. But we did Elvis. We did Elvis, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood because that's recent.
Right.
Could be Toy Story.
Although I did take Sadie to go see the new Super Mario movie this weekend.
Larry Crayon would be a good one, but that's 2011.
Yeah, I heard that's pretty good.
It is good. That Thing You Do could be Toy Story. It's 95.
No, it's not.
Apollo 13.
No. I've not watched it either.
Oh, it's good.
Is it?
Did you like Mario, Joe?
If you like the video games, it's much better than the 90s one, 90s Super Mario Brothers
Ah.
movie.
Huh, The Burbs?
Nope.
Punchline?
Nope.
Turner and Hooch? Radio Flyer, no. League of Their Own?
Nope.
Sleepless in Seattle?
Nope.
Philadelphia?
Nope.
Did I say that thing you do?
Yeah, you did. And nope.
Saving Private Ryan.
Nope.
Boy, Saving Private Ryan's scary. It scares me. The Green Mile, then.
Yep.
Okay, so the Green Mile, and then we haven't figured out Harrison Ford.
Yeah. You already mentioned it.
Did I?
Yeah. The Fugitive. So it's between The Fugitive and The Green Mile.
Man, those are tough. I don't like the Green Mile because it's super sad as well. But The Fugitive is, I don't know. I've seen both of them. Have you guys seen them?
I've never seen either of them.
Okay. The Fugitive is action. The Green Mile is life lesson sad.
Well, see, that's why I was giving you options because since we just came off a life lesson movie, I didn't know if you wanted another one or some explosions.
Yeah, a chase, explosion type deal. Huh. Now, Tommy Lee Jones is in the Harrison Ford one.
Right. I watched the trailer last night.
Yeah, and then which is pretty good. And then the Green Mile has quite a few people in it. That's pretty good.
But both are available on HBO Max, so we can't go wrong either way.
Yeah, man, Michael Jeter plays a really good part, and Sam Rockwell as well in the Green Mile. It's a gut wrencher. I don't know. I think you can't go wrong with either one. I would say both of them are equally good. So Justin, it's up to you. Gut wrenching, sad / moral movie versus action adventure, twisty turny suspense. Both have good casts. Both have good characters. Both are really good movies.
Yeah.
Are they both Academy acclaimed? I'm sure.
I don't know.
I want to say both of them probably had to have won awards.
Yeah. I'm sure The Green Mile did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Flip a coin.
We'll leave it up to you, Justin. I've seen them. Joe has not. Have you seen
Either of them?
Coin flipper. All right.
Oh, he's actually going to computer coin flip. All right,
You.
so Joe, what do you want? Which one do you want to be heads?
Let's do alphabetical order. Fugitive heads, Green Mile tails.
All right. Flipping.
Da da da.
Heads.
Fugitive it is.
Fugitive. Oh man, I want the Green Mile.
We can totally throw out that corn.
Do it again.
Yeah.
That's all right. Fugitive's good. It's an interesting movie. I think it's a basis. I don't know how much of a basis, but it's a pretty good basis for a lot of action, adventure, suspenseful movies that came afterwards.
Really?
I'll be interesting to see what like the fun facts are, just because it's one of those twisty, turny thrillers, and then you kind of had like Silence of the Lambs after that, and a couple after that. You're like, oh yeah, you know. So it might not have been the first one, but it was one of the heavy hitters that brought that twist that you just don't see coming.
Right.
Where do we watch this one, Joe?
HBO Max.
Max. Yeah.
All right.
So Tommy Lee Jones, Harrison Ford, Celia Ward, who's not in it very much, Julianne Moore, who's in it, Joe Pantoliano.
Yeah, I watched the trailer and a bus blows up by hit by a train. So I was like, yeah, that's sold.
It's a good one, and 1993,
Heck yeah.
based on the 1960s television series.
Been a while since I've seen it. I'm definitely up for a rewatch.
Nice.
So you have seen The Fugitive?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
As a young buck, saw it. I thought it was good back then. See how it holds up.
Well, take us out of here.
All right.
So for more news and reviews, check out our website, beentherewatchthat.com. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast, Been There, Watch That. And follow us on social media on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at BTWT Pod. And again, be sure to subscribe to our podcast, Been There, Watch That. We're on all the major platforms, and all of our episodes are hosted by Anchor.fm.
All right.
Well, actually, it's now Spotify. Spotify owned Anchor, but now it's all Spotify podcasts.
Spotify.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. well, other than being slightly disappointed that Justin's not on the mop bucket train today,
Yeah.
what a good week. So, anyway, we'll see. Justin. All right, we'll be back next week because we have
Been there, watch that.